Is this working? Okay, my microphone works. It just won't show my screen. Okay, that's weird. Why isn't it showing the screen? Well, I'm working on how to make it so that the thing will show my screen right now. It has decided that I am not allowed to... I'm not allowed to be seen somehow. Okay. I wonder if it has something to do with bees. What if I take that out? Oh man, this cable's hard to get out. Blink. And then we put this one back in. Okay. Maybe this will work now. We'll see. No? Really? What happened? I haven't actually changed my settings since last time. What? Okay. I have one more thing to try, and then I don't know what's happening. Okay, let's see. Can I delete this? Okay. Huh? This is wild. What? I mean, you guys can hear me, right? I mean, I can hear me, so I think you guys can hear me, no? Oh. Oh. That might work. Eh? Eh? Can you guys see this? That might work. Let's see. Okay, so this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but can you see more than the void now, Alexa? Excellent. Okay. Cool. That was weird. So I'm gonna have to take a look into that. So let me mute this real fast. Cool. So and then let's see. Can we make this one work? Yeah. Cool. You don't want to be visible? Wild. Like, all of my technology has decided that it wants to hate me today. And I have no idea why. Yeah, I mean, what? Huh. Okay, well, I guess you guys can't see me because I am unable to show any of my normal sources, which is really wacky, but yeah, what even happened? So, all right, so I got a new display cable for my streaming computer. That's the only thing in my setup that's changed. So basically, I swapped out. I'm using Streamlabs right now, L Smartman. So I swapped out my HDMI cable for a oh, and of course I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's a different kind of cable. But that shouldn't have changed because like my what's it called is the same. So my display source is the same. It's still the same monitor. It's still the same everything. But oh well. Anywho, to the regularly scheduled program. So today I wanted to go over now that I have the complete set of Innistrad Crimson Vow. I wanted to go over what I think are the best cards in Crimson Vow, and then what are the cards that I think you all should try and get yourselves. So I'm gonna show some of my favorite cards here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play with some of them. I'd be interested in hearing what some of your guys' favorite cards are as well, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. I have once again absolutely no clue why this decided to make it so that I can't use my normal stuff. It's just like I literally changed nothing, but okay, weird. Yeah, I can't show myself either this time. Wild. Maybe this? All right, I'm gonna try one more thing. Add source. Oh, I'm here now. Weird. Okay, so basically I have to, this is gonna be fun. I have to basically go through and systematically delete all of my settings and then set them back again. So that's fun. I'll have to do that some other time. Anyways, so I'm gonna go over what I think are the best cards in the set. What are the cards that I think you should chase, and I'm gonna go ahead and play with some of them myself. So yeah, those two are absolutely exceptional now. Like they're both really, really good. I haven't actually played with Temporal Mastery yet. I just recently got it, but it's obviously a really good card. So we're gonna be taking a look at that today. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go top to bottom and go over what I think are some of the best cards. And yeah, so Hiveheart Shaman unfortunately is bugged right now. So we actually can't play with this in its perfect form, but this is a really cool card, and once it's fixed, it's going to be, I think, one of the big chase cards from the set. It's really good. Curse of Oblivion is really fun. This is actually a really good card. It's just a way that you can kill your opponent without playing creatures, and so a lot of your opponent's removal is probably going to be dedicated to creature removal, but there's still a staggering number of players who are not running support removal. And even if you are up against someone who's running support removal, you're probably going to be running other supports in your deck. So it's actually really hard to get rid of this thing. It just sort of stays and kills you. Hullbreaker Horror is just absolutely insane. The control that this thing is going to provide you, along with the general power of the creature and some synergy that it has with some other cards in current standard, is just absolutely wacky. It's kind of like a Teferi Light. Cultivator Colossus is another one that's really strong. We thought it would be strong coming into the set, and it absolutely is. The land cycle that makes it so that all cards in your hand gain 5 mana pair really well with this card. So we're going to be seeing some of that happen. There's a lot of ways that you can play with Cultivator Colossus. It's really, really good. Faithbound Judge is just one of the best cards in Standard right now. This card is just completely cracked. Like, it's insane how good this card is. I'll be showing you guys, hopefully, my favorite Ajani deck, and it runs this card right here. It's very, very strong, and it's going to remain very strong for time to come. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. Gristlebrand is an absolutely phenomenal masterpiece as masterpieces go. This is definitely one that's worth going after. You just draw so many cards with this thing, and you gain so much life that it's definitely worth putting in your deck. And it's kind of like a Mox Light as well on top of all of that. So Gristlebrand just does so much that it's definitely really, really good to have. Creepy Puppeteer is one of my very favorites from the set. It was one of the first cards that I showcased while streaming. I love playing with tokens, so this is just ridiculous. Changing the base power toughness of your creatures is a really powerful ability in this game because of how cards stack. So Creepy Puppeteer is a card that's going to really put in a lot of work for you if you have it, especially if you use it with like Puzzle Master Chandra. You can use it with Zerial, or really anything else that you're going to be making a bunch of tokens with. So you're going to get a lot of play out of that one as well. Glorious Sunrise is a cool card, but it's about to get horrendously outdated by the green Puzzle Master set. We're getting a new land that converts 3, Dryad Arbor, I think it is, and that's going to probably become like the most ridiculous card in Standard. It's unreal. Seed Gems are crazy. Like, you might be dumping on Seed Gems before they come out. I can't showcase Seed Gems for you guys tonight, but they're ridiculous. I'm not going to showcase all of them, but the land cycle is really, really good. I don't know why they made them rares when the original ones were uncommons. Maybe it's because they're so good. But yeah, these ones are really, really good as well. Maniform Hellkite is another one that's very strong. You'll see that I don't have very much experience on it. That's because I sort of did my due diligence in playing with it, and it just isn't my style. But it is still a pretty good card. You can do a lot of really wacky things with it. Witch's Web is a surprisingly decent card. It's really, really fun in conjunction with specific other cards from the set. One of which I'm going to be showcasing in just a moment. But really, really fun. Crimson Honor Guard is surprisingly powerful. It's, I would say, the best use of blood tokens. You just melt your opponent so fast with this thing. I played with this on stream in conjunction with the other vampire that makes a ton of blood from up here, Olivia's Attendants. These are definitely the best way to make blood. So if you have Olivia's Attendants and you have the Crimson Honor Guard, you're able to make a pretty nasty deck that's going to be melty facing your opponent. Runo Stromkirk is absolutely crazy as well. I mean, if you have this and Crothus, and you've had a chance to play with some of the Leviathans or the Krakens, the Octopus, the Serpents, I mean, this thing reinforces a creature twice per turn. It's just absolutely nutty. It's really, really, really good. I actually don't really like any of the cemetery cards. I thought that I would like them a lot more, but I just don't like them very much. They don't really have that much play for me. Dream Shackle Geist is a card that I think is really good for newer players. It's just, especially if you have Dragon Turtle and Dream Shackle Geist, you just freeze down your opponent's first 2 creatures. So you can put in a lot of work on the control side with the Dream Shackle Geist. But the one that I really wanted to showcase was this thing right here. Halana and Elena, partners. These are just absolutely absurd. So this is one of the first ones that I want to showcase for you guys, but at the beginning of combat on your turn, another creature you control gets a permanent +X buff, where X is this thing's power. And you might see that this thing having reach and first strike is a problem, but if you think about that thing having reach and first strike, and then you put Witch's Web on it, you'll see that it's absolutely insane, because now it's going to have reach, first strike, death touch, and the +5/+5 buff. So it's going to be buffing one of your creatures by a minimum of 7 every turn, and it's going to just be killing everything that your opponent is going to try and put into play. So this common right here is like a new player's best friend, the Halana and Elena. As long as you have something in your deck that's going to be able to buff this thing, you're gonna put in so much work with it. It's really, really, really good. Yeah, I'm surprised it's a common as well. It should definitely be higher up than that, but I'm not complaining because I like it when there are cards that are accessible for everyone. So yeah, Savior of Olenbach is another card that I would say is just absolutely nutty. In conjunction with Ajani, it's in that territory that I would say is just completely cracked. because the Ajani's tokens are going to be boosting by 2 power per turn, whereas this thing's going to be boosting by 1. So every single turn you're going to train. Like you don't need to meet any other requirements to be able to train apart from just having Ajani in this thing, really. I mean, you have to be at full health, but you're going to be at full health if you're exiling one of your opponent's creatures every single turn. So the Savior of Olenbach just provides you with such immense control that it's just really, really, really good. Beyond those, Huntmaster of the Fells is maybe my favorite card to play with in the set. I've had a lot of matches where I'm playing with Huntmaster and Ravager. I do most of my testing in the training grounds. My cards get like almost no experience. I also try and test like pretty much everything. So I obviously don't get to everything, but this one's another one that's just like really, really, really good. If you have a way of just capitalizing on the wolf tokens, then you just do such mean stuff. You'll see that I have no experience on this one. That's just because I don't play very much Daxos. But this card is one that absolutely has to be mentioned. This makes it so that a creature is just permanently going to gain, can't attack, and can't block. So when you're playing against Greg, who won't actually sacrifice a creature to replace it on the battlefield, this is just a permanent lockdown card. And if you're running Daxos, your first ability is going to be able to fetch auras. And so if you have this as like your only aura enchantment in your deck, you're able to full lock down your opponent's creature board without having to destroy anything, and there's going to be nothing that Greg is going to do about it. So it's kind of like an auto win unless Greg has another way of killing you other than the Sigardas, other than creatures. So this card is really, really good. I would strongly advise taking a look at it for at the very least this upcoming weekend, which is a Timeless Voyage. Running a Daxos deck on the bottom with Sigarda's Imprisonment, and then just spam your first as much as you can, lock down your opponent's 3 creatures, and then you just laugh as you win the game. So really good. It's like way better than things like Hixis or whatever because it can't be destroyed. The creature has to be destroyed. But Greg doesn't really destroy his own creatures. So, or I say him. Who's to say that Greg is a he/him? But whatever. I haven't played this with this one myself because I just picked it up, but I've played against it enough to know that this is a power card from the set. All of the extra turn shenanigans that we have going right now are just absolutely wacky. So Temporal Mastery is a card that you should try and get. It's a masterpiece, which kind of sucks because, you know, chasing masterpieces for those of you who are not VIP is pretty rough. But if you like playing with blue and you like the whole like gaining free mana and free turns, then this is going to be the card for you. And if you don't like free mana and free turns, then I don't know what you're doing playing this game. So, yeah. Beyond that, if we just sort of keep scrolling, I don't think there were any other cards that really stood out to me as being like great cards from the set, apart from Alchemist's Gambit. Yeah. I've personally gotten a lot of fun out of Somberwald Sage. I really like this card. Converting 5 gems to green is really fun. And if you pair it with something that changes its base power toughness, you can do some serious nonsense with it. It's really good. But it's not like a card that you absolutely have to have. So I'm not saying that you should chase it as a masterpiece. Alchemist's Gambit. This card is just absolutely insane. Once again, it falls under that whole like taking extra turns thing. But then it's also going to give your creatures double strike until end of turn. So you're going to kill your opponents really quickly with this thing. So Alchemist Gambit's really good. The final card that I wanted to show off is Magma Pummeler. This thing, so good. Like it's up to 16 mana for a 15/16 with a reasonably solid effect. But like if you're a new player to the game, you don't have as many like big hitters, or you're just like red rotates and you just don't have very much in the way of red, then this thing is just absolutely crazy. So what I want to do now is I want to actually get into showing some of these cards in action so that you have a chance to see some of them and why it is that I'm saying that I think you should go out and get them. And then, yeah, we'll call it good. So the first one that I want to see, I'm pretty sure I have some of the decks. I wish I could show her off tonight, guys. I really do. She's so cool. But I have to wait until she's available for everyone, which is going to be a hot bit. So I'm not allowed to do that. But needless to say, she's pretty cool. So this is the deck that I wanted to showcase with Somberwald Sage. So the idea here is that both Somberwald Sage and Huntmaster of the Fells our low mana cost cards, right? Huntmaster is 9, Somberwald is 5. These are both from the set. And Turn Timber makes it so that if you fetch a creature that has a base cost of 11 or less, it gets a permanent 6/6 buff. These are both going to be able to fall into that category. Huntmaster of the Fells is a card that you're going to want to try and build around in one of two ways. You're going to want to build around it in a deck sort of like this, where you're just going to be able to play a ton of them at a time, or you're going to want to play it with Arlen. Now, what I really like about this deck is if we use Gigantiform with Huntmaster of the Fells, this is a way that we can change the base power toughness of Huntmaster, which is really important, because Huntmaster is going to make wolf tokens equal to its power. So you're going to want to have as many of those down as possible. So, I mean, I imagine that today's stream is going to be a good old Nalthazar beatdown. Just because I'm not testing anything new, I'm just showing you guys the stuff that I'm used to playing with. So this is really not an ideal starting hand. Having both Wrenn and 6 and Wrenn and 7 in the hand is, I mean, you know, like it's just sort of cool because we got both of them, but it's not especially great because I'm not going to be able to actively use either of them for a little bit without being able to have access to good mana matches. So I'm actually going to go ahead and prioritize getting Wrenn and 7 down before prioritizing getting Wrenn and 6 down, as my phone is dying. So the reason why I'm prioritizing getting Wrenn and 7 down before Wrenn and 6 is Wrenn and 6 is going to need for you to have cards in your graveyard. And so Wrenn and 7 is going to be able to freely dump cards in the graveyard with this +2. So this is going to let me start throwing things in the graveyard as I work my way over to Wrenn and 6. And I have like all of the world's Gigantiforms in my hand for whatever odd reason. So so now I've got both Wrens, and so unless my opponent is playing some kind of heavy Vanguard removal, this is going to be probably a game over just because I have this nonsense going. The Wrens are just crazy, like super crazy. So here's where you're going to get to see Somberwald. Somberwald is going to start converting a whole bunch of gems to green for us. Part of why I like to play Somberwald with Wrenn is because it's actually going to be converting 8 gems to green, because the Somberwald converts 5, but Wren's passive ability, if it lets me, is Symbiosis. Oh, sorry, 7 gems to green. Is when you first convert gems, you convert 2 more. So it's basically, if you have just this thing down, it's a passive, like, convert 7 to green, which is super silly. And then this here is absolutely amazing. So we're going to, I'm actually going to go ahead and see if I can't make anything super crazy happen like this. So we get Wrenn down, we get Huntmaster down. You'll see that Huntmaster doesn't look like it's doing too much just yet. I only actually need 2 Gigantiforms, so I might as well toss that. And then yes, I'll take these 3 here. And then I want to get another Gigantiform down before I play my other Huntmaster. So next turn is going to be a big turn for me, unless my opponent does something super evil here. And so here I'll go over Huntmaster real fast. So Huntmaster is going to switch. Oh no, Huntmaster! It has flipped the time of day. Dislike. You know, I'm going to keep that Huntmaster in my hand here, which might seem a little bit on the silly side, but I'm going to keep the Huntmaster in my hand here. I want it to be day again, and my opponent's going to play a card on their next turn, so I'm definitely going to be able to shift it to day here, which I want to do. And then, you know, I've got 2 Gigantiforms, so I might as well actually play them both to make my Somberwald here bigger. So let's start with the Huntmaster. Let's make it bigger, and then let's use Gigantiform here on the Sage. I don't need to kick those. So the Sage is actually kind of deadly, and I'm going to get rid of my opponent's Wrenn here because I don't want my opponent to have Wrenn. And then my Huntmaster is going to flip, and now it's going to make 8 wolves because it's based on the power of the Huntmaster. And so I'm really hoping that Vivian plays a card here. So Vivian has a bunch of mana, and Vivian does play a card, which is perfect. So that's going to keep it day. And so now here, assuming I can get a Turn Timber, which is going to be an impossibility, I think, I'm being sarcastic because I just drew one, and I'm a monster, so please disregard me being a monster for just a hot moment. And so now here we're actually going to be able to... Let's throw some more things in the graveyard. Let's use the first ability here to fill things up a little bit, and then let's shift our hand around a little bit. Let's see, you're going to kick for 4, which is good. Is there any reason to go for the green here? Not really. It's too bad that I have to go for green. Oh well. So we're going to play a Huntmaster. This is going to play 16 more doggos. This is going to be game over, by the way. This is definitely game over this turn. So Huntmaster makes doggos equal to its power. If you're able to play multiple Huntmasters, then the world kind of just ends. So now we're going to make 16 more doggos, which is really bad for our opponent because that's going to be another 32. Or actually, I guess I'm making 24 doggos. Not 24, 18? Is it 24 or 18? Because it doesn't get the turn timber power bonus until after all the doggos come out. So it's going to be 16 and 24 for 40 doggos, and that's going to be 80 power that's added to the battlefield. And so here you'll see that even though I'm not doing anything to the doggos' power, they're still going to just annihilate my opponent, and that's the end of it. The Huntmaster itself is also going to serve as removal. It's also going to serve as life gain. It's really consistent. Like, that was a really bad game for it, and I got the doggos to 100 power. So I feel like that's a really good way of showcasing the doggos. Like, it's a bad game, and even still, they wind up being completely cracked. So Huntmaster of the Fells is really good. The Sage, as you got to see, is going to enable. So Sage is really good because it's an enabler. And enablers in a game like this are good. In real life, an enabler is probably not a good thing because it implies that they're enabling you doing something bad, but whatever. And then Huntmaster of the Fells is really good because just all the stuff it's going to do. The life gain, the damage it deals, the removal of vanguards and supports, and just everything. It's good, much good. Maybe not vanguards, just regular supports, but still, really, really good. Which brings us to... not this deck, but well, whatever. I'll use this deck. If you haven't seen me play with this deck, this is just going to showcase the Cultivator Colossus. I know that I'm playing Ren for both these decks, but Ren is beautiful and amazing and wonderful. So just as the Cultivator, not the Cultivator, just as Huntmaster is powerful, the Cultivator is able to just ramp really, really effectively. So it makes it a very powerful and a very scary card. So here, this is actually a pretty decent board state to start out with. I'm honestly a little bit tempted to take the red match away from Koth here, as opposed to gaining my own match, but I'm not going to do that here. So I did get the 4, so that's good, because I will be able to kick this, which will also convert an additional 2 gems. Unfortunately, it did not convert the red gems away, so Koth is definitely going to take those. We got a Cultivator, which is absolutely perfect. Here, we definitely want an early Cultivator. And this time I am actually going to take the red gems away from Koth. So, I don't like Koth having red gems. Koth having red gems is not good for the soul. It's actually really bad for your soul, if you didn't know that. It's one of those like soul-crushing things that will send you to hell. So don't do it. Ooh, I've got a Ren in 7. Yeah, I'll take Ren in 7. Tough choice, but that's okay. We'll use Ren in 6 here, and then now here's where the world gets really stupid. So, all right. So let me explain why this is so stupid real fast. It's stupid for 2 reasons. The Green Warden and the Colossus. The Green Warden is a card that got a lot better in Standard because of the way that Standard rotated, and it's about to get even more crazy when Seed Gems become a thing. So this card has, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you return the first land from your graveyard to the board. Which is really easy to happen. Like, Realms Uncharted is going to throw lands in the graveyard. We've got a lot of wheeling effects, a lot of discard. There's a lot of ways that we can get lands in our graveyard. And then when a land enters the battlefield, you convert gems. So with the land cycle that we have over here, that is going to say when it enters the battlefield, you give 5 mana to everything in your hand. Between giving 5 mana to everything in your hand and converting gems to green with this, you're going to be doing some pretty wacky things. And then the Colossus itself is going to give you even more ways to fetch your lands because of the enter the battlefield, power it up, and then pick one of the first 4 cards from your library. If it's a land, put it into play, draw a card. If that card is a land, and then give it full mana. So it just gets absolutely ridiculous. So here, the first card that you want down is always the Green Warden, because now when we get the Turn Timber to drop, it's going to give us more goodness. Unfortunately here, there's nothing to draw to the Cultivator, to fetch, I should say. So we're just going to have to go ahead and play that as is. But the Realms Uncharted is absolutely going to be converting stuff for us. And then here we just always take Cultivator, right? If you have a Green Warden down, basically always take Cultivator. And then once you have that loop down, you're able to just advance your board state so quickly. It's really scary. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We've already used our first there. I think I've actually already used my first ability this turn with Ren as well. I want to make sure that Koth doesn't have any red matches, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and match on the left side of the board, where it's not likely going to give Koth any red matches. You'll see that the Green Warden is bringing a land back from the graveyard, which is giving mana to everything in my hand. And just the level of mana that you're going to be able to produce with this deck is entirely unreasonable and not wholesome. It's bad for your opponent. So we're going to go ahead. We don't need that. I don't even need this other run in 7 that I've got going there. I will destroy more cards from my deck. I'll use my first to see if I can't draw into anything good. I don't need any of these. So I'll take the Binding just to try and have some extra removal in my hand. This is going to convert the world to green, which is good for me. And then we're going to go ahead and play 2 more Turn Timbers. We want as many green gems on the battlefield as possible for our Cultivator Colossus that's going to come in. So we're going to have 1 Cultivator come in. We're going to fetch. It's going to give us another Cultivator. We're going to have the land come in, which is going to convert a bunch of gems to green. We're going to play another Turn Timber, get another Cultivator. Remember, once you have a Green Warden down, always go for the Cultivator. It is your friend. Can't actually select anything, so we'll just let it randomly select. The land comes into play. It converts more gems to green, which is going to play the other Cultivator that I have right there in my hand. So it just sort of keeps this nonsense going. And then we're going to bring a land back from the graveyard, which is going to convert even more gems to green. And you get the idea. You just get so much mana. Oh, man. I would say that this is absolutely like the best way to get mana in the game right now. But seed gems are more nuts. But it's okay. This is good enough for showcasing how absurd this is. So here, why don't we go ahead and have some fun doing this, and then let's see. I don't need you or you, but I do want this 5 match over here. So why not? Let's take it. Let's get rid of my opponent's dragon. And let's get 2 more Turn Timbers because we like them. And we're going to be able to play them to get 2 more Cultivators. And it's always fun to get Cultivator over 100 power. For that matter, I feel like that's generally a pretty fun thing to do in the game in general, when you get your creatures over 100 power. I know that my opponent's dead, so it doesn't actually matter, but I do enjoy this. Hey there, Kevin. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. So this is going to give us our last Cultivator, right? Because we got 1 more Turn Timber. Yeah, 1 more Turn Timber means 1 more Cultivator. There's nothing to fetch, but that's okay. Good night, Chewy. I hope you sleep well. It's sleep is the ever evasive bane of me. It doesn't happen. We convert the whole world to green again because why not? I don't. Sure, let's get 2 more Asikas because why not? My opponent's dead anyways. And unfortunately, our 134 power Cultivator Colossus is not going to be able to hit our opponent because the Green Warden's going to kill Koth. But you get the idea. Super nasty, super bad, super wonderful. Good stuff. Which brings us to our next deck. So, as my son throws a tantrum because my wife is going to go to the restroom. Babies, guys, babies. They cry about everything. Not everything, but, you know, figuratively. All right. So here we're gonna keep it with Ren because Ren is fantastic, and we're gonna go ahead and swap on over to. Although I could use Garrick for this. I'm gonna use Ren. Ren's better for what I'm trying to showcase. So here I want to show you how you can build effectively around Halana and Elena. So for Halana and Elena, you basically want to make sure that they stay alive. That's really it. Like, if you can keep them alive, then you're going to get a lot out of them. So the way that I like to keep them alive is there's a lot of ways to do it. I'm going to go ahead and put in Sigarda, both Sigardas. So this one makes it so that your other creatures gain prevent damage. And then this one makes it so when it attacks, you get to fetch a card. If it's a human, it gets full mana. And so Halana is a human, so it's basically just this thing here is going to give it prevent damage, and this thing is going to enable us to fetch more of them. But however, you could use Rem Carlos. Rem Carlos is also going to give Halana prevent damage. You could make a red deck off of this and be just as powerful. Just as powerful is a fair statement. And then the Witch's Web, right? This is the one I was mentioning earlier, right? If you run the Witch's Web with Halana, then you're able to just absolutely lock down your opponent and do terrible things. So you're going to see that I like to build my decks fairly similarly in terms of like the core of my decks. So the core of all of my green decks are going to be Turn Timber, Realms Uncharted, Binding the Old Gods, the Prismatic Bridge, and a land of some sort with the Great Aurora. The Great Aurora, so this is my removal. Remember, you always want removal in your deck. So this is going to be able to get rid of all creatures and supports. And then this is going to be able to enable me to get rid of creatures. And then additionally, very importantly, vanguards. So the last thing we want is going to be to convert to green. So I'm going to be using the World Tree because this is going to be the best converter that I can currently run in this deck. So I know that I'm not running a very pauper-friendly version of this right now. But remember, I'm just trying to showcase like how cracked you can make this thing. You can still get an absolute amount of ton of mileage out of this card without having all the, for lack of a better term, BS that I'm putting in it right now. So here, I just want to take away Nissa's matches, and I've actually got black. This is here. I always like to do this. So just in case any of you are interested in like how is it that Michael matches things. Right over here, if I make this black match on the bottom, it's going to drop these two rows here. This one's going to stay still. So if I move this over, these two white ones are going to move down to match this, which is going to cause this black one to match as well. Furthermore, when I do this, these two green ones are going to move down. So those two green ones are going to move down. And then when they move down, it's possible that I'll get black into white, into black, into green. So this could actually wind up being a really, really big cascade. So if you're just wondering how is it that I go about making matches, I try to look for like what is the best like possible match for both mana and for loyalty. And you'll see that I was one green gem off right there, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. I was still able to get 17 mana that turn from that match, which is really good. We like getting 17 mana. So here, although there are other better matches, I'm absolutely going to be going for the horizontal match. We want to be able to get Turn Timber, and I'm actually going to go ahead and play Sigarda here. Even though I already have a Sigarda in my hand, I would still rather get this Sigarda down here just to ensure that my Halana has the prevent damage here from Sigarda. So Sigarda has, while on the battlefield, your other creatures get prevent damage. And then when a creature you control blocks, you're going to convert 5 to loyalty. So these things are going to be blocking everything now. And so unless Nissa kills them, my opponent just lost the game, is how this works. So I'm actually going to keep the other Sigarda in my hand frozen right now. I don't need to play it. I'm actually going to get rid of one of my Great Auroras. There's no reason for me to have 2 in the training grounds. I'm going to use my first ability, hoping to fetch into something good. And I did fetch into something good. That's great. That's actually super great. So we're going to go ahead and try and get 7 mana. I think I can only do it with green, right? I can only do with green. That's unfortunate. Maybe this blue into red into green will be the way to go then, because that will give me a cascade. I can only get 1 turn timber from this because I was a goofus, but that's fine. And you'll see that now I get to start permanently buffing my other creature. So this +2 buff on Sigarda is a permanent buff. Nissa being able to get a bunch of mana at this phase really doesn't scare me at all. I'm not even remotely afraid of whatever it is that Nissa wants to do, honestly. So I could even just give Nissa this 5 match. The game wants me to take this match here, but it's gonna move this loyalty down and gives Nissa a 5 match in loyalty. But honestly, I want Nissa to get that 5 match of loyalty at this stage, because the more creatures that Nissa gets down, the more to loyalty I will convert, meaning the more loyalty I will get, and then the more loyalty that I get, the more I'm going to be able to use my first ability, and I'll be able to fetch more. But this game is probably pretty well and over for Nissa right now, as Nissa doesn't even take the 5 match I gave her because Greg is a dingus sometimes. So I have a whole bunch of mana in my hand. I might as well play some of the cards in my hand, see if I get any more mana as a result of this. I don't. I'm going to take another Halana here just because I want it to get bigger. You'll see that it does get the power boost from Turn Timber because it's 10 mana, and that power boost is actually going to be very significant for this match. So I'm going to just get all these realms uncharted. Okay, why not? I'm going to move them on up and on up and on up, and I'm just going to actually toss some of this other stuff because I just don't need it anymore. And let's see if I can get 2 Turn Timbers. I can. Very good. Let's just try and keep getting more mana. Let's do a realm for a Turn Timber. Let's just keep kicking, try and get more mana. Let's do a realm for another Turn Timber. Sure. Let's kick it for some more mana. Let's keep boosting Sigarda because Sigarda is a dirty girl. We like that. And Nissa is free to do what Nissa wants to do. Nissa plays a Phylath. This is totally fine. Phylath is this much scary right now. This much scary. Because all of those little tokens are just going to die. They're just going to go into the impenetrable wall that is, well, this. Yeah, is not good for them. So we get another Sigarda, another bridge. I get to Turn Timber for another Halana, which is going to be boosting the fam here even more. I'm going to go ahead and use my first, and I've got some webs, which is beautiful. I'm going to move the webs on up. Let's do this, because this is going to be crazy matches. Oh, we don't quite get the webs. All right, well, we end the game here. This is definitely going to be a dead Nissa, but, I mean, there was nothing that Nissa was going to be able to do there. So Halana is able to really lock down. I know that you didn't get to see Halana with the webs. So you know what? Let's do it again. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's get Halana with the webs. Let's get Halana with the webs going so we can see just how busted she can be. Yeah. Let's do one more. Or actually, no. Let's move on to the next card. Next card. P.S. If there's a card that you guys want to see me play beforehand, like you're like, hey, I really want to see you play this one. Now, then just let me know, and I can swap my order around, and that's totally okay. But this time, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing with Gristlebrand, and we're going to be playing with Curse of Oblivion. So the idea of this game is to showcase both Gristlebrand and Curse of Oblivion, so you can see just how wacky these guys here can get. And just how easily you're able to kill your opponents. I actually made a deck with these two, specifically Gristlebrand, actually, with Obnixilis. Gristlebrand with Obnixilis is stupid. So Gristlebrand's best has 2 really good planeswalkers to pair with, right? When you lose life, draw a card. So the first obvious one is Lolth, because Lolth's passive says when you play a black card for the first time in a turn, both players lose life. So you're going to be losing life all the time just by playing cards with Lolth, which means that Gristlebrand is going to just be drawing you a bunch of cards. And then Lolth's first ability and second ability both make you lose life if you want. So that's going to enable you to get even more cards going with Lolth, which is really, really nice. The other one that's just absolutely absurd that you can pair Gristlebrand with is Obnoxious over... Oh, this way. N-O. Here we go. Ob. Because what happens with Ob's third ability says whenever a player draws a card, deal 8 damage to your opponent. So the first ability says lose a life and draw 2 cards. So let's say that you're using Gristlebrand with Alhammarret's Archive and Obnixilis, right? You activate your first ability, you lose a life, which makes the Gristlebrand draw you 2 cards. And then the draw 2 is going to turn to draw 4 with Alhammarret. So you're going to draw 6 cards per turn for 3 loyalty. And those 6 cards are going to be dealing 48 damage directly to your opponent. So you're going to be doing 48 directly to your opponent every single turn for 3 loyalty, which is just absolutely crazy. And if you need, you can use your second ability to kill your opponent's creatures or whatever. Obnixilis is actually quite strong with Gristlebrand. But we're looking for Lolth, and Lolth was over this way. I have so many Planeswalkers, it could be hard to keep track of some of them. So let's go ahead and use the Gristlebrand Curse of Oblivion again. And then I'm going to actually use one of my creatures that destroys things real fast here. I like those creatures that destroy. So where's my little vampire girl? Is she only 10 mana? Slafter Specialist. There we go. I like this one. Because it's an enter the battlefield effect, we can use this with Prismatic Bridge, and we can get much goodness out of it. So you'll see that I am indeed going to be running the bridge. Black happens to be really lucky in that it has the best land forming options right now in many ways. Just you've got Hagra Mauling and Zoph's Consumption, which can just go in any deck. And they're both going to produce a land that's going to convert gems to black, which is really good. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This is black, so we can run our Saga, which I run in pretty much everything. Binding the Old Gods. Aces, definitely should run. And then we should have Convert Black, because, yeah, you definitely want that. Convert Black, so we're going to run the 2 here, the Crypt and the Eye Tyrant, and finally we should be drawing some more cards. Because we're just going to get a bunch. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw Alhammarret's Archive into the deck. Although it is kind of tempting to run with the Puzzle Box. This is a really fun card. You know what? Why not run the Puzzle Box instead? Let's have fun. I'll be a complete turd, and I'll be using a non-blue deck and deny gems. Because people love running into deny gems. P.S. Curiosity-wise, how many of you all have played with the new deny gems? How many of you got Teferi? And for those of you who did get Teferi, what do you think of new Teferi? I am curious. As we get a Gristlebrand, you'll see that Gristlebrand immediately draws us a card. Thank you, Gristlebrand. Please stop freezing. Thank you. We're going to play a Crypt. And blue is good, red is good. So let's just take this red one to take it away from Arlen, because I love denying my opponent gems when at all possible. Gristlebrand, you're going to be able to give full mana to a card in my hand, so I'm going to lose life to draw another card, and to charge full mana to my Prismatic Bridge. We definitely like having full mana to that. And then I'm actually going to go for charging up the Hagra Mauling instead, just in case my opponent plays something nasty here. Case in point, I absolutely do not want to face a Huntmaster of the Fells. I'd like to draw another card here, please. So I will go ahead and take that match. I get a Slafter Specialist, which is pretty ideal here, actually, because it's going to get rid of my opponent's no-no bears. And then, you know what? I want to get the Puzzle Box down, because I put it in the deck to be a dump wagon. So let's go ahead and use it. I'm going to use Hagra Mauling here just so that I can get another black gem converter on the battlefield. I've got my Curse of Oblivion, which is great because it means that I now have everything that I wanted to play with in the deck, which is always ideal, honestly, when you're trying to showcase stuff and then you actually have everything that you're trying to showcase. That tends to be pretty nice. Oh man, do I want to lose all of my conversion here? Fine. I knew that I'd get the double black match out of it, which would kill all my conversion, but that's fine. Because it's my opponent's turn, you'll see my opponent gets hit for 13. My opponent plays another Huntmaster, which is honestly kind of okay. Slaughter Specialist. Al. Slaughter Specialist. You can't spell slaughter without laughter, right? Slaughter. S-L-A-U-G-H-T-E-R. Slaughter Specialist. I got this because there was a game that I used to play a heck of a lot of called Small World. Let's give our creatures double strike, because why not? And in this game that I'm talking about, Small World, it's a world of laughter, and so that's just the name of the game, if you will. Here, let's use the puzzle box. Let's have the puzzle box deny some gems here. So we're gonna drop 2. We're gonna deny some blue gems, which is so stupid that we're getting gem denial. Here, we're gonna go ahead and kill my opponent's creatures, and then I actually can make my Spideys. So let's make Spidey senses tingle here. Let's do it. Let's get black spiders. These black spiders are cooler than a Sika, anyways. Thanks, you hate it. You're welcome. I love it. But I understand why you hate it. Yeah. I say a lot of horrible things, honestly. Okay, I'm going to take this red match over here, right? This red match, because this support means this drops down 1. Meaning this blue will drop down, and we'll get to match this improved blue gem here. Furthermore, it means that we get to use our puzzle box again this turn, which I like. So puzzle box is going to be activated. It's going to draw me more cards. It's going to give me 3 time bubbles, because when you're not playing blue and you've got time bubbles, that's exactly what you needed. Oh man, this is stupid. The puzzle box is the stupid thing, by the way, if you couldn't tell. So my opponent's going to take it, I think, another 13. I don't think I destroyed my support. Nope, I didn't. And my opponent, are you going to get bad luck and get a Cascade? No. Oh, not quite. Oh well. But here I don't even need to hit my opponent, right? Like, I don't even need to hit my opponent. My opponent just dies. Because of the curse thing. The curse thing will do it. The curse thing will get the kill. Destroy target opposing creature. I mean, sure, but no. Time bubbles? Sure, give me more spiders. Dos más spiders, por favor. Okay. And another Gristlebrand, which is entirely pointless, because it's going to kill my opponent. No! Poor phone! I accidentally kicked it off the table. It was a good play. Real good play. By the way, if you're ever losing a match, that's how you can go from losing to winning. Just like Leonidas, kick your phone. You'll win. At life. Not at the game. You'll lose the game. But you win at life. And that's the key, right? Because we play games for fun. It's just sort of part of our life. Bueno. Alright. I'm going to play one more match for tonight. I only had an hour for tonight. But the last match that I want to play is one of the games that one of the cards that I really wanted to make sure that I showcase tonight, which is this one right here. So I'm going to be making a separate video for Ajani, because Ajani Invigorate Leadership is so good. Get Ajani. Ajani's going to be out for crystals in like 2 weeks. Get Ajani. If you didn't buy Ajani for money, get Ajani for crystals. You want Ajani. Ajani is really, really good. So I'm going to be going over what makes Ajani so great. There are a lot of cards that pair really well with Ajani, but here you're going to be seeing me running the Faith Bond Judge and the Savior. So these are the two that I'm really highlighting and focusing on tonight, because I'm focusing on Crimson Vow cards. But the Savior is going to be training every single turn because of Ajani's passive. Ajani is just passively going to enable you to exile an opponent's creature every single turn. Beyond that, the Faithbound Judge, the really one downside to this card is that it loses its prevent damage, right? When the level becomes 4, it loses prevent damage, and then it gains double strike and lifelink. But the cool thing about Ajani is that Ajani can make this thing gain double strike, lifelink, and prevent damage. So once this thing's life level becomes 4 and it loses prevent damage, just use your third ability. It gets prevent damage back and keeps its double strike and lifelink. And you just get to raffle skate all over your opponent. So this is going to be my last match for the night. I'm going to be streaming more of this again next week. I try to stream every Monday, for those of you that don't know. I've missed one Monday, I think, since I've started trying to do this. But yeah, try to stream on Mondays. P.S. My own little plug. If you're enjoying the stream, feel free to support the stream on Streamlabs. You can also become a patron. I see that some of my patrons are here. Alternatively, if you just want to enjoy free entertainment, by all means, please continue to enjoy this as free entertainment, as that is ultimately what this is, right? So, yeah. All right, so Ajani's passive is going to start giving us the kitties. Those tiny kitties are going to become not so tiny kitties in a short moment. So here, actually, I'm actually not going to go for the green. I'm going to go for the white because I'm going to get full mana anyways because the Moxes are stupid. Okay. So you see that I've got the Judge down, and now Koth is doomed. That's the best way of putting it. Koth is doomed. Just completely, totally, and utterly doomed. So here, I'd like to give my little kitties double strike. So I'm going to go ahead and prioritize giving the little kitties double strike here. I'm not going to give the little kitties double strike here, which is really not a problem. I'm not going to make them attack anything, but the Judge is just going to be dumping on Koth. So Koth is pretty doomed here. Just because the Judge, Ajani is kind of like Koth's worst nightmare right now, because Koth doesn't have any good removal available to him apart from like dealing damage to things. And then the other thing is crazy is, right, let's say that Koth destroys this gem right here, then it's still going to give one of my creatures double strike, right? So the other thing is, like, if Koth uses his first ability and destroys gems and winds up destroying all these little things, that's actually bad for Koth. It's not good for Koth. So we get Teferi because, you know, Teferi is fair and balanced. That's why I got Teferi, by the way. I didn't get Teferi because, you know, Teferi exists. I got Teferi because he's fair and balanced. I'm just going to go ahead and get a free Teferi off of my Mox here because why not? And then let's see if Koth is foolish enough to use the first ability here. Maybe. No. But still, Koth destroys it and gives my kitty double strike for free. So, dear Koth, thank you for free double strike. It's much appreciated. We're going to go ahead and use Teferi's first. I'm hoping to draw into my Savior, but I don't draw into the Savior. It's really not a problem. I'm not going to use my first ability right now. I have absolutely no reason to use my first ability right now. So at this stage, I might as well not give Koth a red match. So I'll just go here. Okay, cool. I've got my third. I just wanted to try and get to my third so I could show you guys the Judge getting prevent damage again. But, I mean, I might also wind up killing my opponent too fast. So we'll see. That's really not helping Koth too much. Okay. Are there any white gems? There's one white gem that this could go on. That would be good. All right. That was the white gem. That was a good one. So let's see what happens here. Oh, we got the Armament Master. Let's do it. You know what? This gives us a bonus turn. This gives us a bonus turn with the Judge. Okay, so the kitty got prevent damage. Whatever. The Armament Master is going to eat all the little kitties and make them into bigger kitties. All right, Koth. I accept my 3 damage. And you gave the Judge prevent damage. Thank you. And you gave the Armament Master prevent damage as well. Oh, that was not what you wanted, my friend. that was really not what you wanted, Koth. But that's okay. You do you here, bud. So it looks like Koth had something that had X in the value in his hand. I'm going to go ahead and use my first ability here. Just to see if I can't get lifelink onto my little guys, but this is very over. I didn't even get to get the Savior down in this match. It didn't happen. All right, so I get to give them lifelink still, which is nice, but it doesn't matter. They swing for 90. That's game over. This is really more of a showcase of how ridiculous Ajani is than how ridiculous the Judge is, but I mean you get the idea. So I did have a 7 o'clock thing that I was supposed to do tonight, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to get on and showcase some of this. So there's going to be a part 2 to this. I'm going to showcase some of the other cards that were really good. I'm going to go into the YouTube editor and cut out the beginning where it wasn't letting me show my monitor for whatever odd reason, which was really weird. Don't know why it was doing that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and call it good here. This is I think been a pretty good showcase of a lot of the good Crimson Vow cards. I have more to showcase for you guys. This was not it. There are many Crimson Vow cards that are good. It's actually a much better set than I gave it credit for at first. Like, there's just a number of cards that are really good for your collection that you're going to want to have. So, good stuff. Oof, water. It does the body good. You should drink a lot of water too. Just, general PSA. So yeah, that was everything for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.